One of humanity's greatest desire is discovering whether there is life outside of Earth. Maybe we can send out our voices. Will something talk back in the emptiness of space somehow? Maybe we'll send them a message from our president telling them, hey, we come in peace. If you're an alien, send us a message back. Or maybe they'd be intrigued by the sounds of animals or waves or wind or music. Maybe music will connect with them. Well, in 1977, that's exactly what NASA did. They launched the Golden Record, Pioneers 10 and 11, that carried small metal plaques identifying their time and place of origin. It is a kind of time capsule intended to communicate a story of our world to extraterrestrials. On the record's cover includes instructions for playing its content, finding Earth in the cosmos, and dating how long it has been in space. Inside, there are spoken greetings in 55 languages, and not just modern languages, but languages spoken 6,000 years ago. It has music from different cultures, but also something as simple as footsteps and laughter. This very record is like putting a letter in a bottle and shipping it off to the galactic sea. It is marking our lives as human. Hey, we're here, and this is what life sounds like to us. How does this golden record, Murmurs of the Earth, have anything to do with the web series on YouTube called Alien Stage, a show that depicts pet humans enslaved by aliens? Is there a connection? Is it connected to the rebellion's plan? Or do these images just look strikingly similar? Before we get to that theory, we should talk about Alien Stage. Now, if you don't know what Alien Stage is, it is a web series on YouTube created by Vivinos and Qmeng. It has various animated songs that tell a story about these 6 characters. They are all talented singers put in a competition where they have to sing against each other, and only one survives. Literally. I will link the playlist at the bottom as well as my initial analysis made a year ago. There's a lot of information there. We went in deep. Please check that out and give the original creator some love. Please also consider hitting that like button, please, or I'll take it out on this little guy. Let's get back to the garden. Not all humans are put in this garden. It is even a competition to get in. But once you're in it, you're trained to be a perfect performer for a show for these aliens' entertainment. It's a high stakes show because if you miss a single note, if you forget a single word, it'll cost you your life. But this garden isn't just for training. You can build bonds here. These kids essentially end up growing up together. So their competition isn't just to anyone, it is their best friend or childhood rival. All throughout the gardens are these flowers that the kids use to play with, to make into flower crowns, to decorate themselves with. And little do they know, these flowers are also cameras. They are there for surveillance. Throughout our analysis today, we will be looking at the comics that Vivinos puts on her Twitter and Patreon page for free. And one of them shares that these flowers come to life, almost like a host saying, let's see our kids' food preferences. Now we know that even their upbringing, even before they're on stage, they are already in a show for people to form biases on. Oh, I like this one because they like to eat peanut butter and jelly. All of these characters never get given any agency. So some of them feel like, the one place I do have some agency is when I'm performing, when I get to sing. The one time they really get to have their message out there, spoken to the aliens or to the other kids, is through their music. These songs could be like their final words, and the message they choose to portray in their songs is always about love. Each of them have such a different concept of love, and I think it comes a lot from their upbringing. The creators were very interested in showing the different types of relationship aliens and pet humans can have. These relationships can shape your character's entire world. It can change how you react to a compliment or an insult. It can make you scared of accepting love or ready for it. My name is Bella, and as today we open up the world of Alien Stage, I also want to open up a world for you. Stories like this can inspire us to create our own stories or our own OCs. Yet with so many platforms taking advantage of artists, it's hard to know where to go. And that's why I want to tell you about Unveil, our sponsor that created a place with over 200,000 other creatives. It is 100% AI free and has such a welcoming community. Worlds everywhere. Here you can show off your art of your OC or even build up their lore by filling out their character traits sheets or answering the question of the day, which gives you access to so many other people's OCs and answers. Due to their discovery page, you can find so many different OCs as well as worlds to interact with. You have hundreds of people you can collaborate, write with, or roleplay with. The team itself is creatives, so they know the value in putting creatives first. That's why they have community monthly events where the entire Unveil community can participate in something like a glitch in the multiverse, or have articles made by artists on how to get the best hair for your OC. You can use the link in the bio to sign up for Unveil for free and start showing off your OCs. After we watch Vivino's latest video on Alien Stage, we will take a look at the character's upbringing. I also want to disclose that while I am explaining their emotions, that doesn't necessarily mean that I like their emotions or I agree with what they're feeling. A lot of the bonds here are not healthy. These characters are severely traumatized and they are deeply affected by this trauma. So with that, let's get started. After the events in round 7 blink on, Luka is staring in shock at Hyuna. At the start, his breathing is controlled, but as he processes that this is really her in front of him, he starts to blush and his breathing picks up. Something very strange considering he is really good at keeping control of his emotions. He has literally been trained in various stages to keep a control over his heart rate. Something he prides himself in, that humans must maintain a heart rate of 70 to 90 BPM to remain composed. I'm keeping track as we speak. Would you like to see? Yet we know here it is beating wildly. This isn't the first time he saw Hyuna. He saw her in round 5, but in the midst of chaos, getting beaten up, dust all over the place, maybe he didn't know it was her. Maybe he thought it was a hallucination, and that was why he didn't react. As for Hyuna, she is sweating profusely, her hair a mess. She just came back from trying not to see him, and she is wounded, severely so. In the comic we'll talk a bit more about later, Arise and Walk, Hyuna talked about how she couldn't stand seeing herself on posters. She knew the look that Luka would have on his face. He'd be smiling from ear to ear because she knew he loved her more than he loved himself. Something that may have crossed Hyuna's mind in that moment is that look. She quickly shifts her face from shock to indifference. While Luka is opening up with his emotions, Hyuna is closing them off. Symbolically, she is covering herself, hiding herself completely. And Luka looks like the stage lightings, the color purple, the very symbol of himself on stage, is removed and he looks more human as he takes a step closer to her. The art style also makes him look a bit more childlike. And as he tries to step closer comes a gun to his head, and that is when you hear a Morse code beeping noises that spell out the word alive. Fans of the show hope that maybe that means that one of the other characters are alive. Maybe it's a hint that he feels alive in this moment. For a character like Luka, who can control his every emotion except what seems like joy, as his world begins to tick again, he feels real. There is a blur put on the gun as his focus is solely on Hyuna. And even though he is only watching her and disregarding everything else around him, he doesn't process her emotions the way that she is distressed or feels sick or ill. He's just happy to be close to her. And this is some pattern that he does throughout his time with her. The song begins with another childlike element that we've had for the last 3 songs. In this one, it is a lullaby. The title of the song is called Cradle, both matching this theme of comforting someone, maybe something that cannot take care of itself. Hyuna is singing to Luka, telling him, "Hush, my child, drift into slumber." His eyes are shaking and a tear falls down his face. Blood and guts, maybe mucus, of his clones all over him, posed perfectly as if he had murdered them. Though, if we take a closer look, it looks like he was trying to cut it open for them to come out. He shut off the generator so that they may be freed from their enclosed embryos. And aliens would look like in a hazmat suit come running in to take care of the situation. Their focus solely on Luka. Cut from that scene straight into Annexed Garden. Luka is seen distancing himself from the other kids, just counting on his fingers. His first impression of humans were clones. So what are these people to him? Part of me is curious because he's not the only one that's doing this. There's another girl in the back. It's hard to tell, but maybe it could be the girl who comes up to him. In your dreams, you'll run and play. In paradise. Perhaps Annexed Garden is his sort of paradise. Mandatory playtime might be the only place where he feels a bit more calmer. At least because he has Hyuna and Hyungwoo to hang out with. In the next frame, we see Hyuna is collapsed under rubble. Her leg is hurt. This is where she loses one of her legs, and Luka is singing to her. She is more grown here. This gives me the impression that Hyuna wants to comfort that little boy as a kid she knew. while Luka wants to protect an older Hyuna. So in the art book, there is a line from Luka towards what he feels on Hyuna. It's pitiful, I'm just avoiding the situation right now. If you were in my arms, your safety would have been guaranteed. To me, Luka is a bit frustrated that he doesn't know where she is because he feels like the only place she'll really be safe is with him. The irony is when Hyuna thinks about him, all she thinks about is her trauma. Wrapped in thoughts of him is also Hyungwoo. So as he's telling her, gentle, now go to sleep, comes the memory of her brother. And somewhere in that moment, she begins to drown herself in drinking and other habits, just distance herself with what happened. She doesn't try to process it. She tries to forget it. But there is something I learned. When you don't address your trauma and you try to avoid it, it becomes a source of anxiety, something that can be triggered. Because now the thought of it makes you anxious. Here, Hyuna is surrounding herself with a completely new environment, a community that she is building a great relationship with. She is not alone. Yet what encompasses her entire body is her time in Anect Garden. It is always there, even behind her smile, and only when she sees Mizi and she tries to connect with her by telling her how safe she is. They made it out, they're okay, and Mizi is just sobbing from the pain, changed by her trauma. Does Hyuna recall that feeling? Yeah, you survived. Yeah, you're living right now. But the person I love, the person that matters to me, they're gone. That pain doesn't go away. That pain is still there. And that's what Mizi is feeling right now, and Hyuna's remembering. And I want to pay attention to the rockets and symbols behind us. One poster saying revolution, then 3 posters showing rockets and maybe a signal of some sort. Keep that in your mind. It will become more relevant at the end of the video. We then see Luka strapped in a chair with a bunch of wires all around him. When we look at Luka's room, we see that he has his alien stage trophy alongside roses that he kept from Anect Garden, showing how significant that is to him. Interestingly enough, his TV is unplugged. Very decisive choice to do that. And what is taped on top of it is Hyuna's wanted poster. We see that everywhere. But to put it on a TV that's unplugged goes to show he doesn't care about any other distractions but seeing her. Not news, not shows. And then next to it is also a Rubik's Cube, which we'll come to know is solved, and something that Hyuna would mix up for him, and it's like he's waiting for her to mix it up for him again, which he certainly will do by the end of this video. This is a model of what round 5 stage would look like. I'm guessing the papers underneath might be like spotting of where he's going to move throughout the song. I really don't know. Let me know what you think. So we see he's very involved in the process of round 5. The writers mentioned that Luka's character has a lot of fans and the fandom is so loyal to him that he doesn't really need to do anything crazy to win. A more direct translation says, but he wanted to find a sense of superiority on stage and identity through dominating his opponents. Since off stage, he is like a puppet being controlled by others and wearing a mask. The stage is somewhere where he can find a sense of presence, being dominant or ruling, a place that only belongs to him. And I think along with that comes the aesthetics of the stage. We can see how controlled his life is with all the cameras in the room. The room itself has 2 big windows, not allowing for privacy. He really does look like he's a patient at a medical hospital. There's not anything in this room that is super warm. They're both singing Trembling in Fear together. And this is when we see a sequence of all the kids in Anect Garden, and it is mixed with memories of what it would be like in a different universe, so just mixed with great memories at Anect Garden. In this section, I will focus on specifically what happens within this universe, and then later we will break up and talk about how the kids grew up, how it affects them, and how this alternate AU flips things on its head. All of the alien stage members are allowed to pick their own outfits. Mizi and Sua even swapping outfits. And everyone in the frame is smiling. Till is very decorative with his own outfits, making the marks his own. Hyuna is someone that is very close to Luka. Hyungwoo is too. I think that Luka considers both of them friends, but is very clingy and a bit obsessive towards Hyuna. Something that Hyungwoo does not appreciate. In one of the frames, we see Luka does not want to be pulled away from Hyuna. He looks very distressed. He is sweating. Hyungwoo is trying to, I think, cautiously tug his arm away. There's also comics of like Luka stepping on Hyunwoo and Hyunwoo retaliating and Hyuna taking Luka's side. But of course, this happens because maybe she didn't see all of what happened. But it would go to show that maybe that's where some of her guilt also lies in. Maybe she feels like, wait, well, did I enable Luka to behave this way because I took his side before? There's another comic where Hyunwoo really disliking his treatment towards Hyuna and Hyuna kind of laughing it off. And she goes, here, poke, haha. And she gave him some of the slobber and put it on Hyunwoo's face and he's like really grossed out. Lastly, we have the actor AU. Now, the actor AU isn't always accurate to like what they're like in the show, but maybe we can take something from it. So it says that her personality is calm and innocent. Meanwhile, he is always worried about his clueless sister. As for Luka, we know his worldview is skewed and it has a lot to do with his upbringing and being very isolated from other human beings. Luka is looking at the clones and the way they are dissected they do not look like his cuts. His cuts would not be so specific and clean. These would be cuts for people to go and get access to the heart or lungs, meaning that the clones could have been used as spare organs for Luka. For a child to see something like this and also for those images to be you, it really separates you from connecting to yourself as a human being. Going into the actual incident, I do not think Hyuna had anything to do with it. There are some theories that think that she did, but there is a clear distance between Hyuna and Luka and Hyunwoo. To me, she looks like she just walked into it. A shock and fear that keeps her frozen. Now, what actually happened? First, we see a frame where Hyunwoo is happily, I guess, looking up at the sun with Luka. Oddly, it looks like he's looking at a camera for a picture. Luka does not look so amused, and there is a big bug on his head. The next thing we see is Hyunwoo ready to strike his head, looking very frightened and distressed himself. Next frame we see is Hyunwoo dead due to head trauma from a rock. The basic idea is Hyunwoo hit Luka and Luka retaliated by hitting him back, pushing him, and who then falls back and ends up dying due to head trauma from landing on the rock. Now, how did this start in the first place? Some people theorized that he was trying to knock off the bug, and some people said no, because he likes bugs. We don't know if he likes them up close like that. It could still freak him out. I feel like someone may like looking at bugs from a distance, but maybe if they see it right in your face, it freaks them out. I don't completely disagree with the idea that he was trying to get the bug off him. I am also not completely sold on the idea because I didn't see the bug in that moment. I feel like there's so many questions I still have. There is such a vital scene in All In that is just not referenced again, and it has to do with Luka and Hyuna. So another theory is that Hyungwoo found out about it and got really upset and thus hit Luka. I really hope that Vivinos explores this more because I don't see the hint of that in Cradle, and it is something so vital for us to understand. It's also just too serious not to address. This one's really heartbreaking. It shows Hyuna crying and Luka leaning on her. There is dust all around. This dust is the ashes of the children, so it could very well be Hyunwoo. They're also at the gravestones. This area with all those circular plates are the gravestones of the children. We see Hyuna is distressed while Luka is smiling. He really doesn't understand. And when someone is feeling so much pain and wants someone else to feel that pain, because only then does it make sense, and they're not feeling that pain, you start to feel like you're crazy. Because why does it hurt her so much but not you? But Hyunwoo has been in her life forever. That relationship was her world. When it's gone, you feel not only alone, but the silence of them gone. So many nights were spent laughing together, and Hyunwoo is always there. And this night, he could be there, but it's his ashes raining down on her. Of course, we also know Luka had grown up seeing death around him, his own clones, and thus he has a very skewed view of death. What he's processing in his own mind is, well, I'm still next to Hyuna, so I'm happy. Then we see drawings of them, and we see his clones all around a tree, Hyuna and Hyunwoo there, and a stab mark in Hyunwoo with darker colors surrounding him. Black scribbles is like he knows something dark happened, but he doesn't fully understand it. They're all singing together, and it looks like there's another clone that was marked off. This could also possibly be the tree where he met Hyuna. In this drawing, we can see how he feels towards what happened, And it seems like Luka likes to live in a world where none of it happened. Either he thinks of these other kids similar to his clones, or he just wishes that his clones were alive and they could all be happy in Anak Garden, his quiet longing. Throughout these moments, you'll see moments of humanity. They are living in like what looks like to be the sewers, a mother feeding her child, and you can see that her face is sunken in, both so cold and yet they seem so warm. The kid is crying and the little girl is clinging onto her mother, obviously very happy to just be close to her. Again, showing you the significance of like warmth you feel around the person you love, even though the situation is dire. These two kids are able to find joy and laugh as they draw. This is when they're being sold off. And one thing I really like about Alien Stage is that there's a couple times where they show how art being used in the show too to unify and connect. Communicating with one another can come in so many different forms, and even if glass keeps them apart, they will still find a way to break through. Then we see the kids all sing a lullaby. The duo stops singing and it just becomes a symphony of music. It's mixed in with memories of Anak as well as memories of the Happy AU. We will talk about the Happy AU later in the video. Everything we saw just now was a bunch of different noises. The kids singing and screaming their hearts out, as well as sounds of nature and laughter and scribbling on art sheets. Moments of crying, of sharing your passion, of a breeze and fighting. It is quite literally a symphony, but also what is removed from this is the sounds of life. And the flowers are surrounding them, right? So the flowers is right next to his ears as Till is singing his heart out. Most of the noises we are seeing they're making visually are being recorded by these flowers. This is piano keys and they're dancing over it. Never did we see a toy like this in Anak Garden. Again, to me, it's kind of showing what is the sounds of music, what is the symphony we're hearing, and it's just life moving. Even our footsteps are music or a sign of life. It just recalls to me what the golden record defined as music and a recording of our lives. The song peaks here and it ends. Now it sounds more like a waltz. Mizi is still crying over Till, and as she cries for Till, she sees Sua, and I wonder if it's like Sua greeting Till or something, or if she's just seeing her. The framing of it is like almost like someone greeting you in heaven, so that's why I'm like, oh. It could also mean that she's thinking of her because she was someone that was her biggest comfort. Hyuna is holding her stab wound. Wings drenched in longing. When wings are drenched, they cannot fly. Longing immobilizing whoever has these wings. It keeps them to the ground. They unfold at last, it's almost ready to take off. Like a fragile sprout too small to hold, so something that has yet to develop. These lyrics being said while Luka's eyes shine and he's ready to walk over to Hyuna, gun be damned, and shifts right to him as a child, right after the murder of Hyungwoo. And everything is similar, right? There is Till lying there on the floor, just like Hyungwoo was lying there on the floor. You can see how stunted Luka is. When we're traumatized, we sometimes stop moving from that age. And I think for Luka, that's what happened. Maybe he doesn't really understand the horrors of what went on. Subconsciously, it did lodge itself there, that he hasn't been able to grow past this. The way they frame this is so important because they want you to always remember what he's done. Hyuna is stuck in a similar position. There is no denying it. She has to face the reality of it and deal with thoughts of, how could I have stopped this? Both Hyuna and her team members' eyes grow wide as Luka steps closer. And when she was a child, she stood still. But in this moment, as Luka's running to her, she runs back. And like a waltz, she spins him and cradles him in her arms. The gun that it was pointed at Luka ends up shooting Hyuna. In the trance or daze or dream that Luka was stuck in shatters. He is not being hugged by Hyuna as a child. He is hugged by an older Hyuna who protected him from dying. He now must stay awake with the reality of losing Hyuna. And that's when we see a rocket start to launch. A popular theory is how for a rocket to launch into the air, it must let go of parts of itself in order to move up. Symbolically showing this is what Hyuna needed to do, this is what she's telling Luka do. Her speech will tell him, you need to live with love. Forgive yourself over and over and over again. Luka's face is stained with a bit of her blood. His eyes are shaking just like they did at the beginning of the video when it showed his memories. Both instances, he was able to understand the loss of life as something to despair over. How do you calm your nerves on stage? The interviewer asked. Luka goes, I think ahead about how I would handle a possible problem situation. You never know what will happen on stage, so it's important to have a solution in mind. That's how you keep your heart rate under control. As Hyuna begins to tell her speech, I resented you so, Luka begins to cry. I had to keep moving forward in every moment, she says. But you were always my one and only weakness. That's why I resented you so. Luka, live with love. Embrace the pain, the frailty, and the moments so unbearably shameful. Forgive yourself again and again endlessly, because everything begins from there. Luka does feel scared in this moment, and it is because he has no idea what to do. He did not think ahead about this ever being an outcome. There is no solution in mind, and thus his heart rate is not in control. Hyuna was successful in her revenge. You who betrayed me so cruelly, I finally hold you in my arms. This is my revenge. This time, I'll be your new puzzle to solve. This time, I'll make it harder. So don't rush. Take your time. Figure it out. I don't know how long it'll take, but I hope you find your own answer. Questions, the confusion, the hurt, the pain. She is giving that to Luka, and thus it feels like revenge in that instance, but it's not just a revenge where she wants him to hurt. She wants him to grow, to really know what it's like to love. To feel love is to feel pain. To feel love is to grieve and be detrimental to you. But without love, you don't really understand someone else. You don't really care for someone else. You can feel that joy for Hyuna and appreciate the love that she showed him, but he can't fully love her. Luka may have not understood the meaning of love before, but with this action, he will understand what it means to lose a loved one. So he's had bloodstain on his face 3 times. We saw it with the clones, we see it with Hyungwoo, and we see it again in this instance. And this time it's right smack in his face. The first time as a child, he was drenched in it. The second time with Hyungwoo, it was like easy to scrub off. It wasn't really smack in the center like it is here, like he has to face it. Now we've talked a lot about Luka, but we haven't really dived into Hyuna, who she is post leaving Annex Garden, and in her comic Our Diva, which is referenced in this video. Hyuna's story is a rise and walk, and given the context that she lost her leg, which after losing your leg and getting some sort of replacement, you have to go through physical therapy and actively motivate yourself to learn to walk again. It shows the spirit of never giving up. Tragedies may happen. As dawn rises, another day is here to make a difference. Hyuna by no means was welcomed with open arms by everyone in the rebel group. Hyuna would make jokes about her leg, saying, "Put my leg on a diet, please." Isaac honestly could not stand her humor. He thought that she was very unserious. The others warmed up to her like Dewey and Jacob, Jacob being Isaac's brother. One day, Isaac asks, "How many more times do I have to see someone swallow in self-pity like this?" We brought Dewey in when he was really young, and he's an optimistic guy, so it was no problem. But is this mission some kind of kid's game? We're less than a year away from the start of our mission. How long are you going to spend your energy on this pointless BS? Jacob chuckles at him and tells him, well, she seems pretty optimistic too, and reveals when he first found Hyuna. She was down in a sewer somewhere by Annex Garden, but she wasn't trying to escape. She was heading toward the Annex Garden, to the place where she had been held captive and where there were other children like her. How was she going to save them with one leg? Stupid, right? Just like us. He calls this stupid because it is reckless, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the cause. That type of motivation is what the rebels need because they are facing a whole world of aliens that have more power, have more resources, and more capabilities to capture them and torture them. The idea may be irrational and crazy. Some people may consider it dumb, but it is brave and noble. Then we get little hints to what is this mission about. Remember in round 7, Hyuna was downloading files from the aliens' headquarters. What were the files? We have no clue right now. But what do the aliens have? Recordings of everything that happened in Annex Garden. Recordings of the songs, showing their presence, a time capsule of their moments. Going back to the comic, the leader of the rebels is described by his brother as someone who has always been good at convincing people with nonsense. Jacob was talking about launching rockets, sending our sound across the universe, things that people of today's era would find ridiculous. But I knew something about him. Jacob would be able to do it. He never failed. So he can really accomplish these crazy things. And with my help, my brother could launch a rocket or a missile or whatever, sending a rocket with their sound up to the universe instead of for other aliens to find, but other people to know that they're here, they're alive, a call for help. They are putting it all in. But his brother would never get to complete his mission. He was captured by the aliens, tortured so much that he was unrecognizable by his own brothers. A frequent and unfortunate occurrence when captured by those dreaded aliens. His last words were to Hyuna, telling her to forgive herself. Hyuna, who cried at seeing the state of him but did not cry on his deathbed. Forgive yourself. Something she did not understand that day. But as she kept thinking about it and kept realizing how she never really forgave herself and how she thought that really she couldn't forgive him, she started realizing that no, there was a lot of resentment she held for herself too. And Isaac noticed too. Something seemed to have changed in her since that day. She would still joke around and she would still sing, but it was different. And that's when Hyuna, very badly beaten up and hurt, says that she's going to continue Jacob's plan. And all Isaac can say is stupid. Hyuna going exactly. We're a bunch of stupid people. These people are incredibly important to her. Honestly, I am still confused on the lack of reaction to her death from the other people standing around.
All I'm saying is I better see Dewey and Isaac sobbing their eyes out next round.
Let's talk about the theory. First, let's talk about the most obvious point of this theory. There is a golden record spinning around as the rocket is launching. As we know, the golden record contains natural sounds. It could be animals, wind, footsteps, hellos from different cultures.
Hello from the children of planet.
Literally laughter. Those who shipped it off call it sending a message in a bottle into the galactic sea. One of the craziest things in there is a recording of brainwaves. It says the golden record carried an hour-long recording of brainwaves compressed into a minute of audio. During the recording of the brainwaves, Julian thought of many topics, including Earth's history, civilizations, and the problems they face, and what it was like to fall in love. I personally feel with all the lab tests, there could have been recordings of their brainwaves. I don't know that for sure, but it would be quite a parallel. Point of it was if anything was out there, it was sort of a hello of our history. Hey, we exist.
We have ignition and we have liftoff. We have liftoff of the Titan Centaur carrying the first of 2 Voyager spacecraft to extend man's senses farther into the solar system than ever before.
And something that freaks me out is that it has coordinations on how to get to Earth on the cover. Now, I have nothing to support this specific part, but it would be interesting if the golden record is how the aliens found them in the first place. So if the rebels were to use the golden record method to send their voices into space to get away from aliens, it sort of closes the circle of how it started versus how it ends. So what supports Hyuna and her team making their own version of the golden record? We have posters of rockets all over their safety zone, kind of indicating that this is something that they're interested in. We have the brother quite literally saying his plan. He wants to send a rocket with their sound up into space. Hyuna saying that she wants her voice heard and fill up the entire nebula. For me, who listens to Sweet Dreams one too many times, Suwa very much haunts the narrative, and there is something that she says. It always sounded like she was singing up to someone, asking them to hear her voice. Show me proof you hear my sound. Show me proof that you're here now, Lord. Lord, please, when the song is over, save me, please. Then we have Hyuna, who also wants her sound to pierce space. She's talking about, I hear the song grow louder and louder, fill up the entire nebula. So her finger and this gun are being shown back and forth, back and forth. Her sound being like a trigger, being like
a bullet.
I don't think he could have known how much her out of the blue act would mean to me. Oh, I tried my best, but I would never have been as good leader as Jacob. People were burned out from lack of purpose, and I was busy calming the chaos as interim leader while he was away. Jacob was someone that saw the strength in Hyuna,
But knew that she also needed to unravel her trauma in order to be ready for this mission. When he was on his last breaths, he gave his own brothers lots of instructions and orders, but with Hyuna, he gave her his final words that she remembered and that changed her. Jacob is a very strong leader because he understands what people need to hear, and it is those words that made her ready to start her mission. If she can be strong, she can be the way out. His brother will be safe. The rebels will be safe. Maybe they can have a future.
sending a rocket with their sound up to the universe instead of for other aliens to find, but other people to know that they're here, they're alive, they are putting it all in, putting everything they can into making his plan real. And without a word, you'll embrace the sea that sings, all their voices, all of them. Maybe that's what's alive. Their memories, the marks they left on the world, they're not erased. They are captured, and they are sent out as a signal for help. In our final section, we will talk about each of the alien stage kids aside from Luka and how their happy AU shows a bit of what they're missing in their real life world. How did their early connections of love shape how they act in alien stage? So let's dissect it a bit. On one spectrum, we have Mizi, Till, and Hyuna, all familiar with a familial love. And on the other spectrum, we have Sua, Ivan, and Luka. I'd say Sua is a bit in the middle. Unlike Ivan and Luka, she's not completely removed from other humans or a sibling-like relationship. She has a sister, but their relationship is more complicated. Let's start with the characters that was introduced to a familial love at a very young age. Mizi. She is a special case. Mizi is someone that was raised with as loving as you can get alien parents. They gave her gifts. She wanted to be on alien stage, so they put her there. But they're crying, knowing what that really means. One judge on the alien stage show says this show is closer to a circus where you could watch the death of a pet human more than a music audition. Sending your pet to one of these shows is basically a death sentence. But her parents never disclose it. Before the first round, there's an interview for Mizi and Sua. What made you take part in Alien Stage? Mizi goes, well, ever since when I was little, it's been my dream to perform on stage with Sua, so I'm gonna do my best. You think you'll have what it takes to be a winner of Alien Stage? It'll feel amazing to win, wouldn't it? But it's all too hard to grasp at the moment. And if I lose, I get to go back to the great Anact. Still, I want to sing and perform with Sua for as long as possible, so I want to win with her together. I heard there's never been a tie in all of Alien Stage history. But if we get that tie, then I bet everyone will call us the most fantastic duo to exist in history, right? Mizi is always put in a protective bubble. People want to protect her happiness. And when that happens, you're not only unaware of the dangers around you, but you believe in the good nature of, in her case, aliens. Mizi and Sua try to harmonize and have a perfect score so that they're able to tie. It is the only harmony that was ever done in Alien Stage. She believes that if she loses, she is just going to be sent right back to the garden. While the world is trying to protect her and put her in a bubble, this bubble will burst. And when it does, it will burst so harshly. But while it is contained, Mizi is bright and bubbly, someone who doesn't really fear to show her emotions. If she feels like crying, she'll cry in front of you because she was raised in an environment where she could be free to show affection and all the ranges of emotions, which is really nice for someone like Sua who is taught to shut them down. Don't even fidget. Be a perfect doll. It really helps that Mizi's love is not hidden at all. It is worn on her sleeve, and it is worn on her sleeve for absolutely everyone. The Alien Stage AU is the most heartbreaking AU for every one of these characters. Presently, Mizi is crying with Hyuna over what happened in Alien Stage. We then see a butterfly who lands right outside of that room. This butterfly has the color schemes of Sua. For some, a butterfly may symbolize rebirth or a loved one coming to see you.
It's hard for me to tell what is going on in Mizi's happy AU. I like that she has a little sparkle star on her cheek and she's wearing cat ears, so she's very comfortable expressing herself. She's sweating, so maybe she was just done doing a sport. So unlike an alien stage where her chasing her dream would lead to pain, in this AU she can chase her dream and be extremely happy. Next we have Hyuna, who has her brother Hyungwoo. Her brother and her play so freely. They're always smiling and super confident. Laughter is a common occurrence between the two. They are unafraid to reach out to someone that is sitting there alone and become their friend. They know how to build a community. When we see later, Hyuna loves so strongly. Like, she doesn't know Mizi for a very long time and she's already kissing her cheek and cooing at her. Having her brother at such a young age helped her socialize a lot. In Annex Garden, she's very much like a mediator between Luka and Hyunwoo. And even though many times she's seen as someone who will make you laugh a lot, she gets deep and she is very open about lessons that she carries with herself. She really understands humanity, and it comes from dealing with so much as a little kid. She can connect to the most haunted souls. I think she's very empathetic. That's something that bothers her at times, because sometimes she's like, you don't deserve it, but I also know what you suffered. Hyuna's the type of person who just escaped narrowly saving herself and will go back to the place that's going to kill her with a broken leg just to try and save someone else. To be loved by Hyuna is to be loved by someone willing to do anything to protect you. And I mean love in every form. She loves the kids in Annex Garden. She loves the rebels. She sees the good and the pain in so many people, and it leads to very conflicting feelings. I'll share a little bit about her guardian. Her guardian is called Fan. They're someone that treats their pets like a lab rat. Fan has no morality. I really hope that there is more dropped on Hyuna, because I just don't think there's enough to really understand what was home life like for her. And how does it differ from Luka, who is also raised in a lab? Luka isn't socialized at all. At least Hyuna feels a bit of human normalcy by having a brother there. If the story continues with Hyuna being someone also born in a lab and being raised by someone that does not love her, we're able to see how much she is such a fighter against everything that she's taught. Why do you like singing? Luka asks. He goes, before we grab the mic, we just do what we're told. But when it's time to grab the mic and get up on the big stage, this existence, this life, feels like they're mine. She's able to drop words that are kind of devastating, but with a smile, because she's thinking more about the happiness than she is about the pain. And I think these words are words that Luka kept repeating to himself when he didn't have Hyuna in his life. Because at first he doesn't get them. He's like, what are you talking about? Your life is mine. But as he gets older, he thinks about it more. He starts to really realize that she's right, and he even gets more into the craft of it. It gives him back some control. When you're being experimented on, you feel like you don't even have control over your own body. Nothing is yours. Someone reclaims their control and they tell you about it, you who can connect. It changes your world a bit too. Such a huge strength in Hyuna is her music. It can be a rallying cry of, get up, we're going to do this, we're going to send our voices into the nebula, like it is in All In. It can be a loving lullaby in the song Cradle, where she's telling the kids of Annex Garden to just fall asleep and dream. The user Mofi Yuri says that, I don't know if you read the Annex Garden booklet, it mentioned that when Hyuna was in an act, she composed a song, a lullaby, that became popular throughout the entire garden. And as we see in the music video, all of the kids are singing this song. This very well could be Hyuna's song to everyone, a gift from her to the children of Anna. Then we have the song Take My Hand, and it starts off with the lyrics, a child blooming in despair, fated to be trampled on, you and I were fierce. This is why I don't say that she feels sympathetic towards him, but empathetic, because she can relate to the feeling of being born to be used. And because that is such a common feeling within the kids in Annex Garden, she's great at making songs that make people not feel alone anymore. You can feel weak around her. You can be frail. In fact, she tells you to be. That's Hyuna's love. But let's talk a little bit of Luka and Hyuna's happy AU. Hyungwoo alive and with friends riding a bike enjoying life. Hyuna and Luka celebrating their engagement. Hyuna has been drowning in her sorrows with alcohol, something she uses to grieve, and in this moment she's using it to celebrate. There's also so much femininity to Hyuna here. Like, she has eyeshadow on, her earrings, and I'm assuming it's going to be like a sleeveless dress. We see her always in clothing that's like ready to like run. Hyuna has a very flirty side that we can see in like the beginning of All In. So I find it nice that in this AU she can get dolled up. And I'm hoping that we do see Hyunwoo there too, because we only saw him as a kid, so part of me is like, oh, I wish we got confirmation that he's like there with her as an adult. The last thing to note about Hyuna is that she is part of the group of rebellions against aliens. And there is a pattern between the characters that were loved by another human in a healthy way and their connections to rebelling against the aliens. Which leads us to Till. Now, who we know Till as an adult is he's very rebellious. He doesn't listen to anything the aliens say. He doesn't care at all to please them. In fact, he'll go as far as to kill them. He is the one that at a very young age was raised by his mother. Their connection was so pure and so strong that even the mother thought, is this what the other providers feel too? Is this normal? In their world, singing is known, at least for Till's mother, as another language. And she says, my child knows more than, well, she doesn't call him a child. He's like a product, basically. Knows more than one language. It's singing. She should stop and discourage him and not let him continue with that. But she doesn't. You see, singers go to a garden, alien stage, and they meet their demise. Their beautiful cries will turn into screams of horror. But when she looks at her son, she doesn't have the heart to stop him. He looks so happy. So she starts singing with him. My mother's name is Lo. I hope that's not a capital I. I think it's Lo. Lo wished that even if they were to one day die and be reduced to dust, that the creation would remember and chase after the love that he had given. And that one day, that love would be reciprocated. For this, Lo prayed with all their heart to enact. The creation knew exactly what he meant to Lo, and he loved the warm attention that provider gave him, so that's his mother. I think that's such a key thing, right? He knows how love feels and how it feels when it's reciprocated. And he starts singing all the time. Soon he began to make those cries much more than his own language. Hearing his beautiful cries, the aliens take Till away from his mom. We can see clearly how much she's kept in a cage and he is put in a shipping box. Lo was never able to know that the creation came to be called Till, the creation who held all of Lo's elated expectations, fears, and love deep inside him. And how until the end, which is interesting because that is the name of his song, Until the End, that trace never left the creation become a lonely boy. Till has a frame of reference of what he wants love to look like. Till's love is so full of devotion, and we see that best in his song. Ultimately, the song is begging for this person to not leave him. I think the reason Till is someone who is ready to fight for his love, and it doesn't matter if he is hurting someone to do it, is because when he was taken, he felt like if I had fought then, I would still have her in my life. He will never let that happen again. Of course, he's a baby. That wouldn't have worked out for him. But the sentiment is there. Mizi is very kind to everyone, and because of that, I think Till ends up seeing a bit of his mother in her. It's familiar to him. But unlike Mizi and Hyuna, who approach other people very easily, Till is unable to not feel anxious around Mizi. He is so ready to fight for her as long as she's standing 10 feet away from him. He's also like this with his childhood friend Ivan. Ivan and him, he lets him into his world but keeps him at a comfortable distance. He doesn't go out of his way to make any friends. I have one theory that I think that Till definitely doesn't feel lonely when he's singing. Maybe these other kids aren't exactly his friends, but when they're all here in a group together and they're singing together, that's enough for him. I think Till is the type of person who will walk into any room carrying the love of his mother. So that's why he never truly feels like he's on his own. And this is the kid who gets isolated a lot from the other kids, so that's pretty significant. But even so, he is still anxious about his love. So why is that? Well, when he was young, his mother didn't hide her love for her son. It was free and open. So Till mimicked what she did, and he was also free and open with her. He was not quiet at all, always free to share the things that he likes. And then he was punished for that. When you grow up getting punished for anything that you do, I mean, he's a baby here and he has his mouth covered. You know there's an inevitable countdown where you're going to be in pain again. You may think, well, there's nothing I can do or say that will be right, so there's like a little bit of anxiety in the back of your mind. He could be scared that misfortune is always looming behind him and that'll be the same for the person that he loves. I don't see that one so much. The one I see the most is that he already knows what love is like when it's taken away, so just seeing you is enough for him. Though there will always be a lingering desire to be closer. Like the comic mentioned, Till didn't just hold Lo's love, but the fears as well. In his happy AU, he looks like he is drawing in an art school. What's so nice about Till is that he is so creative. Everything about him embodies his creativity. His music or his sketches, the lyrics that he writes. But in this world, the very thing that he loves to do is also the thing that took him away from his mom. But in this happy AU, he can explore his interests freely. He has the choice to do that. Mizi is someone that is blind to the aliens' actions and has good examples of aliens that care for her, and thus doesn't really fight against the system growing up. Hyuna and Till are the opposites. They're ready to fight against the aliens. I think it's because they know in some form what they're taking away from them, that they just won't stand for it. So instead of playing along with it or just trying to survive, they fight against the aliens actively. Now this next group of three, they don't fight against the aliens like the others do. Instead, they care more about surviving and sacrifice. Sua, Ivan, and Luka. They either grew up isolated from other humans, had no examples of love, and or had fear instilled in them at a very, very young age. All of these experiences shape how they act in adulthood. For example, when you don't know how love looks like, when you've never felt it, especially at such a young age, you don't even know how to value yourself. And when you can't value yourself, you think of yourself as less than other people. Like maybe these people deserve to live more than you. Sua grows up surrounded by other kids who are like her siblings. They are all dressed the same way, basically looking like a doll collection for their mothers. Her perfect porcelain dolls. She pits them against each other, makes it known who she favors, harboring competition between them. She recalls a time in her past where she's getting shoved by her sister saying, "You're already loved by mother, stand in the back" for like a picture, shrink herself, and gaining the favor of someone means you'll be punished for it. For her, it's better to not stand out. And we can see this in the way that she reacts when she gets a compliment. In Anect Garden, she takes a picture with one of the other kids. "Oh man, my head looks really big because I'm next to you." Implying that Sua's head is small, which is a compliment in Korea. Basically saying she's cutesy. Instead of taking it as a compliment, Sua's entire demeanor sinks. It's like her heart drops. And she apologizes for it. The girl's confused. She's like, I was just saying a compliment. The fear of being othered is just so instilled in her. She anticipates rejection. In a lot of ways, Sua is stuck in her trauma, stuck in fearing that she will be outcasted, down to the way that she moves. Before Sua passes away in round 1, she has a memory of her older sister. "You should at least keep your hair straight. You're so unkempt. Oh, be careful." All of these words being said with a smile as if it's affectionate, but all the time judging her. "That's it. You need to be punished, Sua. Back then, you were all I had, and that's why you scared me." A baby Sua says, "Yeah, so mother said that we're gonna go once I sleep 10 more times. Her feet are fidgeting. I think mother seems happy, and I might get to see that pink girl. Didn't I tell you that fidgeting your toes like that is unseemly? I'll stop it." "Oh, you're so cute. But this Unnie is so worried about you." Sua is clenching her dress, trying to keep herself from fidgeting. "In that hellish place, I'm worried our unkempt and stupid Sua will go pop and die. They say the corpses fall from the sky there. If weak little kids like you were to go pop and die, they'd burn you all in a hot fire. Open the lid in the sky and sprinkle them all over the living kids. Like snowflakes. You're already dumb enough, as is. What if you go to a place like that and just go pop and die? I pity you, Sua."
Annie's words scared me more than I could ever imagine. I couldn't stop thinking about going pop and dying, much more than before. But if I ever see you again, there's something I want to tell you no matter what. You're wrong. You were the pitiful one all along, rather than hell. I found you. You're that snowflake doll. Where else would I find such a heavenly garden? At such a young age, Sua was taught that if she makes any mistakes, she will die. She should be scared. Sua and Ivan have a bit of a parallel. We'll talk about Ivan in the future, but they both have a presence that is making them scared. And while her sister here is telling her this because she knows the pain and reality of the real world, it doesn't strengthen Sua. It weakens her in a lot of ways. The voice that she wants comfort from is the same voice that said words that terrify her. She ends up resenting her for it, and she believes that she knows what love really should look like, and it should look protective. It should keep you from feeling that type of fear every single day. So when Mizi comes into her life, it opens up her world. Now she has something that she wants to protect, and she will do everything to keep Mizi smiling. She's able to look back at her relationship with her sister and think, the way she's going about this is wrong, because I wouldn't want to make Mizi feel this way. You're the pitiful one. At least that's how I interpret that comic. Please let me know how you guys interpret it. Sua's rejection sensitive. I find it so funny that she has her feelings reciprocated with Mizi. And Till does not, but Till doesn't really get jealous of Sua and Mizi. Sua, on the other hand, does get jealous or overprotective. One of the times she catches Mizi and Till having a nice moment together, she starts crying. What's really nice about Mizi is she's someone that really affirms her love for Sua, so Sua doesn't really have to question a lot, but it does lead to Sua feeling very dependent on Mizi. She doesn't necessarily go out and make a bunch of friends or anything. Like, she really likes to stick by Mizi's side. She even gives Ivan and Till 0% in connection. Ivan does feel a good connection with Sua, which just leads me to think that Sua is someone that's just too guarded to let that side open, even if they're having like a good moment with you. In Cradle, we don't see that. Sua is beaming, hanging out with friends. She seems more independent and confident. In fact, we might see her sister on the back of her phone. If that picture is actually her sister, it goes to show what generational trauma can do to a person. The sister was hurt. She didn't want Sua to end up making the wrong decision and dying. But her protection caused her to live in fear. And the rejection from the other sisters just made her shrink herself. And now Sua, in a different universe, isn't scared of the world because that generational trauma source never happened. He can live more freely. Ivan, someone who grew up smiling in a puddle just to get better at it because the aliens said that he don't smile right and they will put him in a contraption otherwise. He grew up seeing other kids like him mistreated. He learned dissociation and detachment all very early on. One of his earliest memories is being hung over a building, and instead of looking at the face of his alien guardian, whatever the heck he is, jerk, he's looking up at the stars. It helps distract him and comfort him. Despite being the type of person that doesn't tell people a lot about himself, he still surrounds himself with quite a few people. He is friends with Mizi, Sua is like a sister to him, and he has a crush on Till. Here we see Ivan mimicking Till practicing the guitar, something that Till is very talented in. Another time we see Ivan's favorite day is Till's birthday, so he's ready to give him a big present, such as the xylophone. He describes him as the most interesting, the type I can't understand. I'm not expecting it, but I hope that I occupy the biggest space in his head. Ivan was never shown love as a kid. His guardian Unsha gifted him to his wife as a special gift for her birthday. But he wasn't just a gift, he was an investment. He was trying to get into the world of pet human entertainment business. The headline for his interview was, "Pet humans are an investment, not a nurturing thing." So Ivan had no reference to what love should look like and how you should treat someone you love. All he really knew was attention got him praised. If he can occupy the biggest space in Till's head, that would satisfy him. He's ready to get it in any form. It doesn't matter whether it's a good reaction or a bad reaction. One time he steals the recorder that Mizi got him. Another time when Till starts the fight with him, Ivan fights back, and he fights back hard. But he's not doing it because he wants to fight, but because he wants his attention. Which I just want to clarify every time I say this stuff.
I'm not saying it's okay.
In their graduation book, Ivan writes to Till, when we were young, we were both ignorant and often bickering. Now we're getting older, and I feel that maybe we could have been friends. If I knew this sooner, I would get closer to you, only then I didn't have to regret it this much. I hope you will remember me. And he wrote the I hope you will remember me in such tiny letters.
Till to Ivan says, you are the one who stole my pencil, right?
Ivan wants Till to remember him.
Ironically, he does remember him through the actions that he did.
I think that Ivan struggled a lot with understanding human emotions and connections, which is why he studied humans to kind of like mimic. And I think something that he noticed was like, well, when people are mad at you, all their attention is on you. They remember all the grudges. They'll keep talking about you. But you know, as he gets older, he starts to really understand people more, especially through observing Sua and Mizi's relationship. I thought that she and I were in the same situation. I think those eyes are what caused me to have such a misunderstanding. She wasn't much different from me. Everything around her, her twisted personality, they were all similar to me. When I found out that wasn't true, I think I felt something that I couldn't describe. And I think he just felt really alone. This is why Ivan says so many things with regret. I wish I had been different with you. I wish we could have been friends. If I had known earlier, things would have been different. Even to Sua, thinking back on it, I shouldn't have made such a biting comment at her. Ivan is someone who even calls his own feelings for Till shallow, but I think it's quite the opposite. He is someone who feels things very deeply. It's also hard when you are forced to mask so much, so it's nice that in the Happy AU, he doesn't need to do that. When you are someone that is constantly putting meaning behind people's expressions, you tend to forget that there is a lot more going on inside. You don't know the whole picture. Ivan has a deep longing for understanding other people. One way that he finds this is through music interpretation. A lot of music is poetry, metaphors for how we view the world. Music helps us connect with other people and ourselves. You have a subject you are most confident in. Ivan says, I would choose music appreciation and interpretation. I have an interest in delving into the essence of things. This subject helps me deeply understand music, which in turn aids in improving my skills. This isn't just something he does because he wants to get points as an Garden singer. Kind of a leap. But in the Happy AU, he is wearing headphones. I believe because he really does appreciate music. He wrote the song Black Sorrow, and he wrote it very poetically. He is also receiving a love letter in this AU, and when he turns to smile at the person, he does give a small smile. He's not giving like a super gleeful showman smile. In my opinion, he is being himself. In the end of my round 7 video, we go over the guardians for Luka, Ivan, and Till. So if you want to find out more information on that, I really recommend this video. I find it so interesting that Ivan and Sua are both people that struggle socially, yet in their Happy AU, it has a lot to do with the social aspect. And we have gotten to the end. And let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think about this new video? What are you expecting for the next and final alien stage video coming out? Currently, I am a team of 1, so every single membership means the world to me. It helps pump out more videos like this. I want to give a shout out to Andrew, who keeps my YouTube membership afloat. If you guys are to join, you would get a shout out at the end of the video, a free VTuber mascot, and emotes.
New member alert.
Oh!
New member alert.
Thank you so much, Jason. Good to see a fellow Candelita. Thank you for joining. Before heading out, I'm just gonna leave you with the part I freaked out most in the video. Is this... there's ashes falling here, and we know like this snow. Oh my god. This snow, dust, the ash of the people, the kids they burn after they die. It very well could be Hyungwoo's ashes. I really think it is, and it's making me sick to my stomach. Bro, I'm so broken. I can't believe those were his ashes. I'm so, like, I have watched this MV probably 3 times. Nothing has broken me like that. Is this a symbol for Garden?